Good evening, guys, and welcome back to the classroom with Architect Mark. Today, since we've finished talking about the large tool set and the default tray, that's pretty much the entire uh, set of basic tools that you would need for SketchUp to be working with material on it. So, what we're gonna do now is like an intermediate area like we did with AutoCAD. We had an exercise, but this one you will be basically watching a sped up version of a modeling done on one of our current projects. So that's why the classroom would look a little bit different. So let's head on over to that and check it out. So here we have basically a media player. And then you can see here at the bottom, it's 9 minutes and 26 seconds. So it's a good fit to our 12 minutes. So we're just gonna basically blaze through an entire modeling process that is an equivalent of 2.5 hours. And I will talk you through what's happening. So let's start the timer and check out the modeling of this garden gazebo. Timer started, and let's play the video. So at this point, we imported CAD into the program and copied it over, created columns, and now the outer stairs for it. Now, this is not the final version of this design when this finishes. Of course, this is just the first scheme of it. So right now we're putting in the floor, and then what you can see there, the upright one, is basically a guide to the elevations of the thing. So what we're doing now is we're uh, putting the context on the column so we're able to chop them off swiftly like that. So now we're doing the longitudinal bars or rafters because we wanted this one to have a very specific roof look to it. And you can see here that we're using an isolation technique by enabling this, the fade rest of model toggle here. So that way, when you're inside the group, you don't see anything else. And isolation is pretty important. Right here, the video has not stopped. We're getting a reference for the roof. So that's why CAD had needed to be open there. So we crossed two profiles to get to this one. And then cleaning it up. It's a good practice when you're doing SketchUp. When your models are clean, they render clean, and you want clean renders. If your model has multiple faces on one view, the renderer would not know which one should be on top. So it's either you shift them a little bit so that there becomes a space and the render is able to identify which is the top one and which is the bottom one. And what happened here? Yes, so now we're back. I believe I took a break over there. And then, so right now we're creating a room inside of the gazebo because this was part of the plan, the requirements of the owner. So this is one technique, moving around lines This is not a very popular technique in SketchUp because users would generally just like to solidify the walls and extrude them up as one. This is a polygonal technique that came from another program, but it still works. This is still a 3D program anyway. So we made cuts to the box to identify the doors and the windows, and then we're gonna just recolor them after. So now, since we have a specific angle that we want, you can choose not to use angle measurements and instead use um, elements of the model that are already to the angle that you want. That's how this uh, part here was done. So we close that off the geometry, then make them all face the outside because that's what we wanted. So now we're modeling the cage, which is a very straightforward one with an island. And then we're pushing and cleaning up the internal part there, the internal uh, quarters. Now we've moved on to creating the perimeter effects or attachments to the design. And we're making sure that we know which are the doors and which are solid walls by coloring them or putting materials to them appropriately. You will find that when you're doing SketchUp by yourself, uh, where was I? Uh, talking about prior to this long break that I have here. Mm, I think it was about modeling the periphery. And when you're doing it in SketchUp, you want to be grouping things together so they don't move independent of one another. So here you can see us putting in components from a library so that we don't have to model any more chairs. Just make sure that they are all standing on a plane because you don't want chairs that are eating up into the ground of your design. That's just uh, barbaric, shall we say. Right, so here you can see that the components are being aligned to be properly positioned and indicate a total amount of eaters. And then you make sure that your that one we did there with the, what do you call this? With the stools, you need to verify if they are already standing on where they should be standing. So this one, when we turned, we saw that it was not. So we apply modifications to it. So we're just putting on humans for scale because that's really important. You'd want the uh, your client to understand just how big it is. And right here, we're putting on some foliage and it's very stark green, and we decide eventually to just remove all of them and put on some more sketchy looking ones. So we end up with that. So this view is actually a standard view that has perspective projection off, so parallel is on. So here we're setting scenes so that when we render and there are changes, we can render it again using the same position, and that allows for better communication on both sides. So we're adding in a little bit of um, flair to the space by removing the glass railing and making it into more physical bars. So that's it. That's the that's 2.5 hours of modeling uh, within SketchUp. Let's see if there are some highlights here. So there we have it. A fairly sped up version of the output for this garden gazebo. So I think we're under time right now. So there's a little bit over a minute left till we get to 12. Um, we don't want to share the what it's looking like right now because it has yet to be approved. But the character is still maintained. Yeah. So sorry, I spaced out a little bit over there. I was waiting for uh, the animation to move, but actually it's paused. So I was moving it like that. So what are the key takeaways here? We have these sort of views for quick checking, cardinal views that you do by removing the perspective view. And then, yeah. So that's what I have been preparing for you guys. And that's our 12 minutes. And I hope you got to see, even though it was fast, there are concepts that you can glean from that. So I hope you like that. And then I will see you guys next time for more advanced SketchUp material or CAD, because when you review the syllabus for SketchUp, that's it. That's the basic uh, SketchUp lesson. But maybe we'll go into uh, putting textures more properly next. We'll see. I will think about it. So take care, guys, and see you again. Bye bye.